Now then, people, good evening and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and another episode of The Final Word. Hope you're all doing well. Please do smash me a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. Evie is back with us on The Final Word tonight. We've got Jack and Lockie, regulars of course. And yeah, Leeds United got back to winning ways against Millwall last night under the lights. Jack, I was panicking like a good one. You was like, it's all going to be all right. You were at the ground. It was all right. Leeds United won 2-0. Over the moon, mate?
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? It's crowd were a little bit. It was a weird one yesterday, to be honest. I don't know. I'd have to sort of watch it back to sort of the game just passed me by a little bit. So obviously it was 1-0 for a long time as well within the game. So there was like an element of doubt to it. Even though Millwall really brought nothing, did they? That I can think of. Like
the first 5-10 minutes, they looked all right.
Yeah. Tiny spells, looked like they tried to make a bit of a game of it every now and again, a bit scrappy and stuff. But it wasn't. If it hadn't have been for because I did play it down, but I said how important the Millwall game obviously was. I was worried about this result, but if it hadn't have been for the Portsmouth game, I don't think it'd have been like that at all yesterday. But the ground was a little bit. It was a bit hot and bothered early on. And as we wasn't, I mean, we did control the game, but it felt like we didn't at certain points. So like within the ground, so it was a bit radgy. But I think it was much needed, wasn't it? We've all sort of said maybe just back to clean sheets, just get 2-0. It's like I know last 5 minutes or whatever it was, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we were worth it, weren't we? We were worth the second goal. Lockie, obviously, there was a lot of discourse of a peacock, right? There was a lot of discourse online about potentially changes to the lineup, and I also advocated them. I'm not absolving myself of any sort of blame there. I was saying maybe something different in the 10. Do you play Pirro in there? But then you've got Joseph. There was just a lot of unanswered questions, and we saw Rothwell go back in. And by the way, I thought it was man of the match for me, but probably people wanted more, and it's almost like he's allowed them lads to play themselves back into form, because the results of late haven't been amazing, and maybe we've been with the late winners, maybe it's glossed over some of the performances, but last night he kept faith with them same lads, and they were well worth the 2-0 win.
Yeah, I feel like at half time he must have told him, he said, you're going to play the full 90 here, so you better sort it out. I didn't feel like that's the kind of chat he had with him. He said, you're my 11. You need to win this. You need to take that responsibility. That's on you. You're good enough. And then I just thought, without being spectacular, we absolutely dominated the second half. I think the tempo was very relatively good for the 90 minutes, the 45 minutes, sorry. So, yeah, mate, I was very happy with it. And on Aronson, I mentioned to you, didn't I? I honestly think that USA drop, it annoyed him. I think he looked a little annoyed in his face as well playing yesterday. Was it just me, or was he was driving at defenders a bit more, I think. Yeah, he had a bit between his teeth, didn't he? And that's what he needs to do. And Poch's comments basically just saying, we've got other players that can play there. That must hurt him. And that must have proper think, right, I'll show you. And that's what he's got to do. And that's what we need from him every week, because he's clearly capable of it. But yeah, mate, they did the job. He put faith in him, did the manager. That's a risk by not making the subs, obviously. And they did it. They did what he wanted. They won the game. They controlled it. I thought were brilliant. Like you said, Rothwell Snacker in the middle of a joke. Yeah. Joe Rodon again, just an absolute unit back there. Really happy, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great, weren't it, Evie? Because I think someone's just put in the comments, and it's a great point. I can't find it now. No, wasn't that one. Something a lot. There you go. Gordon says the game was the difference between a blip and a wobble, and obviously, we've come through it, haven't we? I know we've got another tough test at the weekend, but considering what they did on Tuesday, a draw down at QPR, for example, isn't catastrophic, is it?
If we get something, it means we go into the international break guaranteed top of the league. So at the end of the day, we'll have, after Saturday's game will have 8 games left, 8 games, top of the league, no matter whether it's on goal difference, it all counts, and maybe we'll be the first team, I believe, in Championship history that would win the league on goal difference. You know, it would just be very, you know, we're breaking records left, right, and centre, so it would be a very typical Leeds to be 7 points clear at one point and then all of a sudden just win the league on goal difference kind of thing. You know, it's I'm fine with it. Like yesterday, I don't know about you, but my God, did I exhale massively when Tanaka's goal went in. It just felt like, you know, I was so tense. Like my anxiety was just absolutely through the roof. I was, you know, like digging a hole in my living room, pacing backwards and forwards. I was just so anxious because of how much my emotions ride on Leeds United's results, and I like desperately needed that this week. I needed them to come out. I wanted them to prove me wrong, you know, because, you know, both you and I were for our standards fairly negative the other night, but I needed them to do that because I needed them to show that it matters, because last year a lot of people did go missing, you know, because either they were overplayed or whatever the excuse or reason was. We had a wobble, and that was a wobble last year. Whereas I do agree with that comment, you know, with that game, every time we've lost, we've come back and won straight away. I like that attitude. I like that mentality. And it was so important. Yes, it wasn't the best performance, although that disallowed goal was an incredible team goal, and I'm absolutely gutted for all of them, not just Pirro, but Aronson needed it as well. So I was gutted for both of them because, you know, like I was very critical of Aronson last time, but yeah, I agree with Lockie and yourself. He seemed back at it, you know, he seemed like he had a point to prove, and I like that. I like it when players don't just go in like internal and insular and actually come out with a bit of fight. And I like, you know, we've all criticised at times Farke's blind faith in certain players, but it was warranted, and, you know, he was justified. So I'm happy for the manager as well, because had he have not changed any player other than Rothwell and Gruev, everybody, you know, the Farke outers, the, you know, everything, everybody would have been out in full force again tonight as they were the other day. So yeah, very, very happy. And I don't care how, you know, we've played some beautiful football at times this season, but for the next 9 games, I really don't give a damn. I just want the ball in the back of the opposition's net, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just about putting points on the board. That now it's crazy to think, Jack, that like there's single digits of games left now. There's just 9 games and Leeds sit top. And I think what's quite interesting as well, we play before the other two. So we have a chance to really put the pressure on and increase the gap even further before they even play. So, yeah, it's mad. It's gone quick, hasn't it? Single figures already. Daniel Farke, quickest ever manager to get to 50 wins as well. That was another record he broke last night. And, you know, of course, no one's exempt from criticism. And, you know, we all have our own opinions and stuff. But he got it right again. And I thought the Rothwell change, and I did listen to the presser driving back today, and he spoke a little bit more in depth on that. But now it's like Rothwell has to play, I think, because he was... I know you've been one who's sung his praises for a very long time, to be fair, but he was phenomenal yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. It's his intent to, like, you know, because we do the sideways and backwards thing, I think, really gets overworked. I think everybody moans about that far too quickly. But the one thing about Rothwell is he always he wants to go forward. Whether it goes forward or not, it's not the point. You know what I mean? But the defense, that when you're lining up against him, he's always looking to pop it in. And Tanaka's exactly the same. They'll just put it into 10 or out to just 2 or 3 yards forward sideways past. You know what I mean? So it goes rather than backwards 2 yards sideways, it goes forwards 2 yards sideways. He's constantly looking. And Rothwell, when he picks up the ball, like, he really can beat a man. He's really active on the ball. Like he's really, like, to be honest, when I first saw him, when he first sort of started at the start of the season, I thought it was a little bit like show pony-ish. I thought it was all a little bit for show, like when he's doing them little tiny little touches, but he's just ready to go. Like the ball, he'll deliver. And I don't know if you saw him when I mean, it looked like he misplaced a couple of passes, like forward passes, but I think they're just a bit of a mix-up. Like Firpo, I think it was thought he would go inside, and so it was like, slightly poor pass ultimately, but it really frustrated him. And he doesn't seem like that type of a lad, that gets radgy. But I mean, he were slapping grass at one point, like in anger, like frustrated. So, because Farke had sort of said that he'd not played that well, didn't he, against West Brom? And I thought that was a little bit harsh on him, really. But that's what I love about Farke as well. I do think he sort of says that he only gives them 90 minutes and he will sort of be pretty harsh on them. So I do think he's quite a tough manager with them. But yeah, it's crazy how fast it's gone. I agree. I can't believe there's only 8 left. That's why as well, and I'm not just saying it when I wasn't worried about we just got to get on with, there's not that many games to have a wobble now. It's just like we just need to just win one, something dodgy happen, win another, do you know what I mean? And just see where we're at with 4 games to go. Because we can lose a couple more. I truly do believe that. So I do think we'll be all right regardless. But I don't want to do them on the bounce and then be left in a position. If we lose another game like Bristol or Stoke or whatever to what them, I don't think it'll matter. But I think what would have mattered is Millwall. And then it's like, hang on a minute, even though they've slipped up, it's like we have to now go on to the end of the season unbeaten. That's much more pressure. That's a horrible thing to be doing. You're taking it too close to the end. So I think it's a brilliant win.
Yeah, you bang on the money as well, because during that time, say if we did lose to Stoke or whatever, Burnley and Sheffield United would have played, so they'll have dropped points, and they've got the Steel City derby on Sunday. They've got to play Coventry, so that's you can afford them little drops. And I agree with you. I think one thing that I do want to get people's thoughts on, and I'll come to you, Lockie, with it first, and was the lack of subs. It was an issue for me in game. I can't lie to you. Of course, we win the game 2-0, and it probably gets brushed under the carpet a little bit. But I did feel I'm not saying it needed subs, and we know with Farke, if he's got his 11 out there and he thinks we're in control, he'll just keep it as it is till it's won. Sometimes he'll wait for a third before he'll change. So, but I do think as a fan, I'm watching it thinking, come on, Daniel, because they've got a game on Saturday again, and they've just played. And am I being overcritical? I know they're super fit and stuff, but I think I was a bit like, come on, like Dan James, he's fucking played every minute for weeks now, Yeah.
No, honestly, Joe, I was fine with it. It didn't bother me. I was all right with it. I felt Dan James looked fine. He was pressing the goalkeeper in the 80th minute. You know what I mean? He was closing down. He was pressing. He was that counter attack with Solomon where he runs about 30 yards in about half a second. I think he was fine. The problem with Dan James in that game was just his end product. That if you're taking him off, it would have been for that. But I was speaking to Jerry earlier on this, and he made a point where I feel like Farke was thinking about making subs. And if you look at the cameras, they zoomed in on the bench, and the 3 subs that came on eventually, their tops were over the bench, assuming they were going to come on. And that was about the 68th minute. So I feel like he wanted to, but then he kind of just went, we're in control. I'm not going to risk that. It's quite a tight little game. I'm not going to risk it. We're in control. So maybe that, kind of just went, no, we're all right. And he was just waiting for that drop, and then he was going to go right. But I don't think there was one, and that's it for me. Because the tempo didn't drop, I just feel like he felt, I'm going to give these guys that responsibility. Look, like I said, if he'd have made subs, I'd have been fine with it equally. I'm all right with it. But then if them subs come on and they're not quite working as hard as James and Solomon did on the wings, or whoever else came on, then you're looking at subs. We lost the tempo. We lost the game.
Yeah.
Well, not lost the game, but you know what I mean? Might have dropped the point. It's look, he does this. It's a risk he takes. It's his job. Yeah. But I respect him. He stuck with the idea. He saw the game plan out, and it worked fine for me, Joe. I understand that people disagree, and look, I get it. I'm probably in the minority in this one.
You just call me Joe.
Did I? Did I just call you Joe?
Oh, is that how it is now? Yeah. Go on, carry on, mate. I'm only playing.
I think that's my my stutter. To me, I can't speak. But
don't worry, man.
Believe me. But yeah, yeah. I thought we were absolutely mint, mate. To be honest, I didn't think we needed to. But then I said this earlier as well on mine, not on Jers, that all this like, they're playing, worrying about them playing a lot of minutes. I'd let the coaches worry about that. That's not my, you know what I mean? I think they'll know if they're playing too much. It was interesting what Farke said in his presser. I don't know if you caught it, where he mentioned Rothwell and actually said he can't play 3 in a week usually.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
What's that? You know what I mean? These are little things we don't really maybe know about, which I hope changes because he needs to play every minute now. He's been outstanding. But yeah, so I was personally all right with it. I understand why people were though.
Yeah. Evie, any thoughts?
I mean, I would like to see Gnonto and not even necessarily because anybody's underperforming or anything like that. It was just because the mentality is clearly there because the subs are running over and celebrating every time somebody scores. It's not like people are sat on the bench sulking saying, you know, like, I know obviously there's stories about Ramazani and things were out a few weeks ago saying, oh, he's really not happy with his lack of minutes. I just don't see that at all. I see an incredibly together unit of players who want to play for one another, who want to play for us, who want to play for the manager. I don't see any of the animosity, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like players to have a few more minutes so that if the worst happens during the international break and Dan James gets injured or something like that, I want Gnonto to not just feel like he's been dropped in the lion's den type of thing. You know, I want him to come on feeling incredibly comfortable and prepared for whatever the next 8 games after the international are going to throw at him kind of thing. You know, I want everybody firing because if everybody's firing, then it means we get promoted. I don't want people coming in cold. And that's the only criticism that I've really ever consistently had of Farke is I would like to see rotation. And we were rotating earlier on in the season, but obviously it's a really difficult, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place because when a settled team is pumping out results week after week after week, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because if he changes it and then all of a sudden we lose, well, why did you change a winning format? You know, like players are looking leggy or whatever, well, you need to rest. It's just a really difficult situation to be in. But yeah, I think yesterday, had we have not lost on Sunday, I think he does make those changes earlier. But I think he wanted everybody to feel confident that they had given the fans a far improved performance, and that was only going to happen if we got that second goal. So when everything's in the balance, you don't change it. And we know that he's safety first. So, you know, and that's been something that's incredibly consistent. It's not like he's changed his mind now and all of a sudden isn't making changes. No, he values his players. So therefore he's like, right, you've almost got the job done. Just get it done. And if that goal had stood, we have the changes at 60 minutes, no problem.
That's a good point. It's a good point. And I was willing that goal as well, Jack, because obviously Aronson was instrumental in the build-up as well. And I know there's been a lot of criticism for him, and I think this time, and normally I would say unfair, but I think it's been quite fair of late. He has been pretty poor, but we know the manager likes to play people into form, and look, some people still say he wasn't great, but I thought he was good yesterday, Aronson. I don't know about you.
Yeah, like Lockie said, I thought he did it quite early on in box where he hadn't done that for a while, where he was sort of squared up against centre-back and he beat him till it ended up being a bit of a weak shot, truth be told, but without keeper leaking in first goal, you know, that probably the best place to put it on him, to be fair. But yeah, he was driving into box and stuff, and it were a little sort of back heel flick, wasn't it, for Peru? So really nice stuff, really, you know, and he was about it, yeah. One thing I'd say about the subs, like that, I agree with what everybody said, to be honest, but I just cannot for the life of me, with Gnonto Ramazani on the wing, I just don't think it makes a blind bit of difference to this at 60 minutes. I don't think it changes the shape. You know, like we're saying, safety first and stuff, which Farke definitely is, and I agree. But it doesn't.
You're saying there's not a drop up in level.
Doesn't alter. No, if we've got so much quality there, Gnonto's not going to come on and be. There's not going to be a problem there. I know people have had the reservations about Gnonto this year and that he's not had the best year, but he's always bang up for it. He's not going to do it, you know, and he can pull stuff out of the bag. And like Evie says, we might come towards the end of the season, might really need that, even injuries aside. If it don't quite, you know, if it's not, you know, come Saturday, I don't know whether, like saying, if we played Dan James for full 90 minutes, I personally think they'll all be all right. They'll all be able to play again. But Yeah, I just don't think it makes a difference. One thing that I was talking to my brother about, which I don't know whether it's just a stupid thing to say, really, but I honestly wonder whether Farke's he is in the last 10 games of the season now, and it's just like, it doesn't really matter. You know, like the idea that, like, he just doesn't care. It's like, if this ends up being 1-0, I play them all for 90 minutes and they're all pretty depleted and I have to treat Saturday brand new, we'll see how they all get on tomorrow. I just think it's like, it was such an important game yesterday. I don't know. I just wonder whether there's an element of him where it's just like, do we want to get to end it? We're going to get to end at season. Let's win some games now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think because he sort of said in his press conference as well, like, about players' fitness and stuff and how he makes the final decision, didn't he? And he made a bit of a joke about it to say, like, well, I listen to the physios and the coaches and that, but ultimately I don't really care what they say. You know, I'll just pick the best team or whatever. And I think that's kind of my point. Do you know what I mean? Where, you know, he's making my point for me, which is always good. But like, he's just going to do whatever is best for that game. And and he just doesn't care what anybody or the fan base thinks, which is why people think he's selfish. But I still think those 60, 70 minutes. One thing I don't like, and now I'm banging on now, sorry.
He's on. He's on his soapbox.
He doesn't do it all. He doesn't do anything. And then he does it all. And it's like, whoa, I just don't like that. Just do one. And then we can maybe have two late in the last 5 minutes or whatever. But when he does them all, it's like, he sort of ripped it out now, ripped the heart out of it. It's a bit, I know we went 2-0 up, so then it doesn't matter. Like, bring them all on, bring them 5 of them on. It doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
You know, 5 minutes left, 2-0. But I don't like the 0 to get everybody on type of thing that we end up doing. So I just think give one of them 30 minutes, and then if he don't make another one, don't make another one. That I'd be up for that.
Yeah. He usually does bring at least one winger on, doesn't he, around the centre? If not both of them, usually one. But he didn't, and that's kind of got me like, why? What was the difference this time? What do you think? I genuinely do think it's because of the recent results, he's wanted these 11 that went through that to change it for him and, you know, win the game. And I feel like that's probably what it was in the end. And he actually mentioned in his press today about him overthinking things. He actually said he overthinks things. He don't want to do it. Like, maybe that he just thought, we're winning the game, we're comfortable, we look good, the players are fine, just got to win it. Like Jack said, just get on with it, win it. We'll worry about if everyone's a bit tired tomorrow, that's not the problem. You know what I mean? So I actually agree. I feel like he's just proper taking it game by game and just looking at going, we're winning the game, I'm all right. I do trust them two on the bench, but those guys are fine. We're just going to win it and get on with it. So, yeah, and look, maybe, like I saw in the comments, maybe at the weekends they play 90 because they'll rest them. You know, they might get longer. They might start. Who knows?
I also think that Farke's job is to get us promoted. Like, players, as we've seen from last year's players, are innately selfish because regardless, you know, none of the people who are playing for us, other than maybe Sam Byram, are Leeds fans. So it doesn't, their careers are their careers. So why shouldn't Farke treat it the exact same as a player treats it? You know, his job and his financial future and his reputation as a manager relies, and him being a Premier League manager relies on us getting promoted. So if he has to flog players because he wants to get that 3 points now, not mess around with potentially getting 3 points away, you know, at QPR, you know, now we can afford. I'm not saying, you know, and I don't want people to read this that I am happy or I want a point away at QPR, but it now means that if we do, it's not the end of the world. It's more than we got last year, and we're still top of the table going into the international break. So Farke's job is to get us promoted, regardless of who he plays, who we've got in the squad. Players are going to do whatever they want with their career. So why should Farke, you know, base what he wants on whether a player is particularly, you know, happy on his minutes? You know, prove it in training, prove it when you get minutes, you know, etc. But yeah, it's Farke's career as well. So he wants us to get promoted so that it's got on his career.
Yeah,
you know what's funny about?
Go on, mate.
Sorry,
that's all right.
What Evie said says spot on, and then social media is so good at, like, they're almost friends with Owen Ramazani, for example, because those are the guys that are not getting on, or Josie. It's like they're almost friends with him, these Twitter profiles, and they kind of want to pit the manager against the player, going, the players can't stand him. Like, no, that's not really how it works.
Yeah.
They love him. They probably understand it. They're probably annoyed, like anyone would be when they're not playing. But it's almost like they speak to me, trust me. You know, they tell me they don't like him. It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah. The whole thing.
They will be annoyed at the lack of minutes, won't they?
Yeah, of course.
They're fuming.
Yeah,
But it don't mean there's a massive rift through the squad. That's why I can't stand every time Rodon's a bit of a moaner. Every time he looks at Melia and throws his arms up, Twitter goes like, and it's just Rodon really hates him, doesn't he? That's all they're right, and it's just like, no, it's just a bit of a whinge. They've both had a meltdown for a goal or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not. They might hate each other, but I think it's more likely they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't just watch an individual sort of like argument, or the fact that they'll go to goal kick and Rodon's facing the other way and Melia sort of look at back. He's probably looking at them all, isn't he? Just if you get the right image, I mean, it looks like he's staring to the back of his head. It's like, come on, narratives are crazy that they build up.
Yeah,
they're all probably really close with each other and the manager. That's why we're top and we win every week. They know the roles. Like Jack said, of course you could be annoyed if you're not playing. I was the worst. I'd kick off. My best mate used to be a goalkeeper, and when I play a left back and he'd make a mistake, I'd scream at him. I'd call him everything, but it didn't change my feelings. It was just annoying, innit? It
probably means you're more mates, aren't you? If you can actually properly have a go, have a ding dong with each other, and then be like, it doesn't matter. It just means they're playing sport at nearly the highest level, aren't they? So there's a lot riding on it for a lot of them.
There is. It is. I'm just trying to think, like in terms of the game, I don't think it was just a standard performance. I don't think there's anything apart from the subs. That was the only thing yesterday, even when I did my post match. I sport through the goals, but apart from the subs, I thought it was just a standard. It weren't an amazing game, but like we've all agreed tonight, it is just about getting through these 9 games now. Special mention to Firpo, obviously, another assist for him. Yeah. It was so funny yesterday watching him because he was literally everywhere. Like he's told, go play wherever you want, Junior, and he just pops up in the 10 up front. It's mad seeing him, man. So I tell you what, I want to get the temperature because it always splits opinion because of the disaster that was the Premier League and because there's still no mention of a contract. And I am sentimental, but I want him to be given a go in the Prem. I'm not sure if he wants it, but I'd like him to be given a go. But I know a lot of the chat, no, he's terrible. It's a different level, and I get all that. But does anyone think he shouldn't on the panel or
me?
Go on, yeah, go on.
And that's not because I've got anything against him, because actually I have kind of bizarrely fallen in love with him over the last 2 seasons. Everybody loves that kind of that story arc of, from enemy to hero, villain to God type of thing. And I just would like a good ending to somebody's story instead of seeing him go back to the Premier League when we know, look at teams who were, look at Leicester, who absolutely just, yes, I know they had a wobble, but they still won. They still got, was it 97 points? They were absolutely dominant, and now they can't buy a win. And
Leeds Davis is a good example because he had the most assists in the Championship ever, and now he's in the Prem and he's getting the new one a lot. I
want us to be able to look back at Firpo with rose-tinted glasses and just be able to just smile when we think about him instead of feeling angry and frustrated, and just allow him to leave, on his stallion in his yellow Leeds shirt and just kind of see him ride off. And I genuinely would be really happy with that because of the fact that there's so many players that had we have seen Pablo carry on at Leeds, would we have ended up getting frustrated with him because he couldn't do the same things that he could do previously? It's the same with the Calvin Phillips chat. Sometimes you just have to, close.
He's coming back,
book.
by the way. He's coming back.
But just, sometimes you have to close the book and remember that you've read a really good story instead of, trying to keep on popping out the sequels because it's never quite as good. So I'm happy with him going off, and we can just remember him as the assist machine that got us back to the Premier League.
Here's a question for you. Name me a sequel that's better than the original. Anybody?
Monsters University.
Terminator 2. Boom. What a film that is. One of my favourites.
Actually,
Boys, any thoughts on what? Did you say?
No, I said I can't. What? I said I can't think of one on top of my head.
You have seen Terminator 2 though, right?
Probably.
Oh, that means a no. That means
When was that out? When was that out? When were it out?
And it was out before I were born, I think, bro. To be honest, I watched it the other day, right? And it goes 2029, and there's robots killing people. I was like, fucking hell! 4 more years and robots are taking over. I mean, we're
Leeds are winning Premier League.
AI.
That's what we should have been doing.
Eh?
Leeds are winning Premier League. 2029.
That'll be year we're almost winning it, and then robots will.
Yeah.
Terminator's from the 80s. There you go.
There you go. Come on.
Yeah, but if you haven't watched it though, Lockie, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough film chat. Jack, yeah, Firpo or Tech Firpo.
I'll be quick. I agree with what I think Jack said in the chat. I think if he wants to stay as an option, I'm absolutely fine with that. I do think we need to buy another left back because I don't think we have many anyway that are of Premier League level. I think we need to get a good one and have Firpo there. Regardless of like defence, I see fullbacks get torn inside and out every week in the Premier League. It happens. I understand that it was bad. Everyone was bad. I think he's a more confident player than he was when he first came. I think that's important. And going forward in any league, you can get numbers. So for me, I think you can bring in maybe more balanced fullback, maybe a younger one, and keep Firpo there if he wants to stay and challenge. I think that's probably what I do personally.
Yeah, squad place, Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's only right, really. I don't see how you can. It's sort of like if he was 30 odd, I'd think well, fair enough. Mint season and then off your pot. He's 28, isn't he? 29.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so.
I think he's 28 or 29. Might have just turned 29 or something.
28, mate.
Yeah. So 28. I mean, that's a young man, really, isn't it? For doing a couple of years in Prem. All we've got to do is stay up. It's obviously, and my worry is, we all did. Alioski, to be fair, I think was slightly more all-rounded than Firpo's a joke going forward. Whereas Alioski was a bit more of a general left back. I know he was very much a winger, but do you know what I mean? Like on the ball, I know he'd fire forward and stuff, and we were under Bielsa and that, so he sort of could thrive a little bit more. But we did this to Alioski thinking that definitely replacement required. I think we've got awful memories of Firpo in the Prem, but there's some awful memories from the Prem. I don't blame Firpo for that. So I'd give him another year. But we did it with Alioski. We were like, get Firpo in. Everybody were like, oh, we've got Firpo here. And then it were like, where's Alioski gone? So I'm just concerned that he is ultimately one of our best players in this league. Yeah. I don't think anybody could argue that he's a joke. He's been so good for us. So I think to then get rid, I think we'd lose something from the side. Regardless, I agree we have to sign someone, and I'd like someone a little bit more of a solid. You what, man?
I think he's one of the leaders as well. He's a bit, not in terms of. We saw his behaviour after the Melier thing, which probably doesn't equate to a leader, but he's one of the elder statesmen within the squad, isn't he?
And I don't want to be that guy, but being at Barcelona and stuff, it must be massive for some younger lads and that, and that he has been about. He is well, he's been at some big clubs, hasn't he? And we are a big club, so we try to get towards being that again. So, yeah, I agree. I think it'd be mint around place, and I honestly, again, we're kicking off. I just don't think when it's bad, don't you? And I don't think when he kicked off, I got the impression it's not. These are just people's personalities. Do you know what I mean? Firpo seems like a pretty chilled out guy, but I bet when he goes. Do you know what I mean? Ed's gone. Ed's come off. Kettle's been left on boil. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's something's afoot. I don't think it's necessarily. He's not gone into change. They can all deal with it. And the thing is, though, when you're winning plenty of games, there's never a problem with it, is there? You'd never look, because like Nonto can be quite petulant and stuff. And if you're winning, you just think, oh, it's Nonto, it's fine. But if you're not, and then they start being their own individual, that's when it can get a bit fragmented. So when you're winning, everything's fine. But yeah, just on Firpo, I don't know where I'm going. I'd keep him for another year, but I would sign another left back. I just can't see the point in getting rid and then we'd have to sign two, wouldn't we, if we got rid?
Probably, yeah. One thing I would say though is realistically, like you said, he's only 28. He's not going to sign a 1-year deal. He's going to want at least a 3-year deal.
Well, I think that's what it is, Evie. I think that's what I honestly think they'll have offered him something, and I don't think he wants in on.
And you can't blame him, really. He's got, he's got at least a 3-year contract, and then you go on to your 2-year, 1-year deals when you're, 31, 32.
Especially if Betis are saying, here is a 3-year deal.
Well, and there'll be money. Because ultimately, if he signs a 1 year, it massively reduces everything for him. He has to wait a whole year. Doesn't know how he's going to get on in the Prem to sign for somebody else. If he goes now, he'll have so many more options.
Of course he will.
There'll be loads of clubs that'll take him for free. But even if he signs a 2-year at Leeds and then he's no guarantee to be in the first team for 2 years,
and
nobody's going to buy him. Nobody, or less clubs will buy him.
Yeah, I think he did change his agency recently as well, didn't he, to a guy that works very closely with Betis. So I think he probably does exit. But if there's an opportunity,
they're good moves, Joe. Like we forget the level between the Championship and the Premier League as a joke. Like he could move. I think he could move to most teams, bar maybe the top 3 or 4 in each country. Do you know what I mean? I think like he's a good fullback. He's got ridiculous numbers. We've just scarred by the Premier League. But that's the elite of the elite, do you know what I mean? So, and in the poor side as well. And he had injuries, didn't he? He had COVID about 4 times as well. So, I swear he had it every week. So, yeah.
And it's not easy coming into a Bielsa team, is it?
No, exactly. Especially with fitness. Yeah, he could never really get up to fitness. So, whatever happens this season and last, he's been phenomenal. And he was right. If he does leave now, what a great end.
Yeah, be remembered for a long time, to be fair.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you probably... Yeah, fuck it, sell him. Get gone, Junior. We can all agree on that. How's the nerves then for QPR at the weekend? Obviously, it's a quick turnaround. We haven't won there since 2017. Ruth got a hat-trick down there. It's London. It's early kickoff. Evie, how's your nerves for it?
As long as we get something, then I'm happy. And to be honest, that's under the proviso that the other 2 win. If the other 2 drop points, we might not even need anything to stay top. We can't go out of the top 2 before the international break. It's a game that I would love personally to get kind of revenge for last season. I would love for Farke to kind of use that momentum, use that kind of, you've got, a bit like with this game, the players had wrongs to right in this game. Players, we've still got some players from last season who have wrongs to right in that game. So I also think that hopefully we could, use that as kind of fuel to fire everybody up. But at the end of the day, just get a point and don't get injured. And then hopefully some people, especially Aronson, can have some time off and, just recuperate and get fired up for the second half. But yeah, I'd like them to absolutely put them to the sword.
Yeah.
But if you can't win, don't lose is my mentality for, anything is better than a 4-0 loss is essentially where I will probably end up going.
And we're at a stage, Lockie, aren't we, as well, where like point away, win at home, point away, win at home now. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Farke said the other day, win them 5 home games, we'll get top 2, So if you can add the points here and there, and point would be. Would you be okay? I guess it depends on the game state, but if you give me a point now, I'd say all right, we'll move on.
If we go behind him and get a point from it, I guess all right with it. But if we lose a lead, you'd be fuming. It's weird how that works, and even though it's the same result at the end of it. But Joe was telling me earlier that the record is terrible. That their home form or their form is bad, and that just made me really nervous.
They've lost 4 on the spin as well.
Yeah,
4 on the spin.
But look, you know what? Like I do trust these players. I really like them. I trust the manager. I trust the players. They just they have little wobbles, but genuinely speaking, all season, has there been any wobbles that have been longer than 2 games? No. I think we've been very consistently good all year, and I trust them. I do. I think the Millwall game in how they kind of controlled that second half which obviously would have been harder when there was no subs made, just kind of showed me that they are kind of here for it. It's just that what happened last time, I don't think it will affect them too much, but it's always there. You're aware of it. Do you know what I mean? But look, go do their jobs, man. There should be no worries. Like Farke, look, he was calm in his presser today. He looked happy. He was smiling a lot. He was laughing. That'll be the squad. He represents the squad. So, yeah, confident. But again, just stick to what we know. Do what we do. Don't be weak. Don't be soft. Go in there with that mentality, and I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Jack?
Well, I think it's not a must win, but I'm still on. I said after Portsmouth game 6 points now, so it's like I'd take a point.
It would be mad to think, mate. Like if we win and one of them drops points with 8 to go, you're like, oh.
That's what I'm saying. I really want to get. I mean, I know everybody does. There's nobody on the panel here saying no, don't want the win. I'm just saying, but I am. So I do think we need to win. I think we need, if we get to international break and there is a bit, I'm not even bothered about the gap. I just know that if there's a draw and a loss to be had. If we can do a draw and a loss, I just don't want to do them now. I'll take it even with second game back at international, something awful happens or whatever. There's a really poor game. I want us to be on a little bit of a run going into. I don't want it to be bitty form in the past, because the overall games is still an amazing run, regardless whether you take with the loss being in there. But I don't want it to become like, well, it's an amazing run, but in the last 4, there's a couple of draws in there. Do you know what I mean? It's like bitty form. I just want us to be so that it looks like nothing's happened in that time. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, there's a random loss and a draw. And then, do you know what I mean? I just want us to get winning again. And then I think come towards end of season, I just think it'll be done. I want to get it done. And QPR are in the look terror at the minute.
In dire straits, aren't they? They're in dire straits. And all right in saying, weren't they fighting relegation this time last year when they beat us 4-0? They're not.
We secured their safety. Genuinely, we did last year.
They're like mid-table, not that, you know what I mean? So
we
totally the perfect team to play, 14th, in theory.
14th. Yeah.
Nothing to play for either way. That's what we want, really, is we want teams that just have nothing, that are all on the beach, basically. And no, that's really cliched, but obviously, I'm so glad that we've got the majority, other than what Millwall and Middlesbrough and Bristol. So we've played everybody else that is.
The mad thing is as well, them 2 teams we've got fucking mint records against. Middlesbrough and apart from the Cup, we have very good records against Middlesbrough and Bristol City. So, like the fixtures this season have been so kind to Leeds United with the running compared to what Sheffield United and Burnley have to.
We beasted our difficult run, which was like the January, February time when we had a load of really tough games and we didn't lose at all. So
It feels like, this might be naive, but it feels like there's less for them to stop us doing this time as well. It was really in the balance, and we could sort of be got at. Whereas going to QPR on Saturday, I don't think they'll be the same. Like if we win today, do you know what I mean? It pulls us down or whatever. I don't feel like there's that level of competition at top. I know I got pelters for that, saying that other day, but I just don't. The run we've been on has just been to remain top of the league. It's not been to catch up and try overtake. We are legitimate. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody sort of arguing with the fact.
We are legit.
we are though, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are the force in the league. I do believe that. So
yeah. It's like Thingy said earlier on the other week, my mate Chrissy Wilder, where he did say though that us getting a point against West Brom was like Liverpool getting one against Villa. It was a good result. And then when he was asked after we dropped points against Portsmouth, he said the championship will championship. He said and just said that they'll drop points like that as well. And then they go and drop points against Bristol City. So I think Chris Wilder, if you compare the Chris Wilder that was in the Bielsa season, when his team were flying in, he was confident, compared to now, he's very much like, no, they're going up. We need to make sure we get get second. I think that seems to be the general consensus. Because
I don't think he likes Leeds, though, Joe. You're talking about as though he's talking really like positively about.
He does, man. He does this season.
I don't think he does, dude. I think he's very, very calculated with it.
Do you think?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Do you think he wants to stand there and just go, I'll tell you what, he were really jealous of Bielsa, and then Bielsa had we'd fallen off in the form. He couldn't handle it. He didn't like the fact that nobody were talking about him. And because you won't shut up about Chrissy Wilder being a legend, he's maybe thinking, well, to be fair, he's edging his bets. There's no way. He knows that it's a reality. He knows it's a fact. Whereas I think he felt like he was still being spoke about inferior to Bielsa. And that's when the big charge comes out. Because it's like, no, we've been since Christmas and giving it all that. It's like, what are you lot on about? You've still got the blinkers on with him where we're not like that in this position. So he can't really, there's nothing to anger him. He knows what he's doing, that lad, I tell you. He doesn't like. I can't believe you think he likes Leeds.
Yeah, I don't think he minds us.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
Maybe respect rather than like.
Where's he from? Is he from Sheffield?
Sheffield.
He's Blade, isn't he? Yeah.
The Leeds fan, though, isn't he? Apparently, so I'm hearing.
Joe likes him, and I get it. I'm the same. Joe likes because he was Halifax manager. That's why I don't mind him.
He's just a Yorkshireman, though. He just says it how it is, doesn't he?
I know that people like him, don't you? He reminds me of my dad a bit, to be honest. So I can't really.
I can't believe everybody likes him. What's happening here? What's going on?
Damar says his dad's a Leeds fan. There you go.
All right. He'll have got all crap all his life then, won't he? That's
Exactly. Right, just to finish up, we've had a couple of super chats. It's that man again. It's Jack's number one fan. It's Ming. Ming says, it's Jack City crew are marching on together. There we go. Big up to Ming 59. Turns out I've found out on the grapevine it's actually Jack's brother, and he just pays in to give Jack some moral support, I think. Is that right?
No, that's not true. That's really not true.
No, it's not true. Not.
I don't think he's my brother unless I won't go down that one.
Dave did says, good performance last night for me. Nothing to fear from who is to come. Bring it on. And Abdul Rahman Al Khalifi, big up, mate. He says, good evening, all. Just praying for our rock to come back after the international break fit. Because in my opinion, Big Joe Rodon and has been our best player at the back. We can't afford to lose him. Ramadan Kareem marching on together. Leeds. Just on that, thank you for the super chat as well, bro. Just on the international break, are we aware off the top of our head who's going and what the situation is? Obviously, Aronson not going is a massive bonus.
Yeah.
I assume Tanaka will be going.
Probably. I know Firpo's going for 2 friendlies.
Okay.
Which is very infuriating, to be honest.
Yeah. He's there Messi, though, isn't he? He's the Dominican Republic Messi, man.
Yes. What a gut. Yeah, I think the Welsh lads have got World Cup qualifiers, haven't they? So they'll have some big games. I don't think they're as important as last time, so they won't come back depressed like they did. But yeah. I'd assume Gruev as well might leave. Some of the young lads might go on national duty. Joseph, Nonto. Probably everyone, basically, as usual. Schmidt's gone, obviously.
Schmidt's going to Switzerland. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Don't play. That's a little bit next thing. He scored for Switzerland, man. Farke hates him. Solomon at Israel. Yeah, so they're probably cool.
Everyone still then, just not Aronson.
Yeah.
Aronson
it's such a shit international break, Mark. Like, why?
Yeah.
It's pointless.
If they didn't have it, they could just wait a couple of weeks longer and have it right at the end of the season. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Instead, because it's not just us that are affected. Every single team at this point in the season has something usually to play for, and it's ridiculous and just a money-making thing. But I won't get on my soapbox now. But it's really, really tedious.
You need to do what Arteta and Arsenal did last season and just said they were all injured. Like, none of them went. They were like,
do you know what Farke said in his presser? He went, it's not like the Fergie days. You can't pay him anymore.
Yeah. Funny, man.
But you can, Farke.
Brilliant.
We'll all put a couple of quid in to keep some of them.
Give a tenner. Send a tenner.
Therefore, here's some more Wilder propaganda. Wilder stuck up for Bielsa during Spygate, and Sheffield United refused to sign the petition to try and get us deducted points. Have that?
There you go, Jack.
You'll be calling him Chrissy by end of season.
Joe as well. This no one will like this in the comments. I don't mind Warnock either.
I love Warnock. Don't get me
Thank
started,
you,
man.
thank you.
I love
thank
him,
you.
dude. He's awesome.
He's brilliant, isn't he? Not at
He was
Leeds.
good at half time when he was going, no, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
He
He's
goes to
brilliant.
blow his whistle.
I love him. Old school. I love it. It's the montages on YouTube. Just Warnock montages are the best thing.
Yeah, he is.
Bad at Leeds, granted. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
very
not
bad at
thinking
Leeds,
that,
weren't he?
but
Yeah.
I do like Warnock. I think he's mint.
You don't have as many characters like that anymore.
No, you don't.
No.
You know,
No.
it's
Wilder over
he's a
Warnock.
dying.
Defo.
No, Warnock for me, I think.
Is that how much you boys like Wilder? What is going on?
I'm Warnock. I'm Warnock, Jack. I'm Warnock.
Thank the Lord.
Mick McCarthy's better than them all. That's right.
Oh,
for
Mick
Farke's
McCarthy.
sake.
It can. It can.
It can.
That's the
That's
best
the
skit.
That is
That
so
is-
brilliant. That.
It
can.
can.
Do you remember
Just
the
a dread.
thing on,
Legend.
do you remember
Can't
the
get
thing
any
on
worse.
Soccer AM as well? And then he turned to the camera and go.
the wing.
Is
Yeah.
that the one where, the one where
Oh,
he's
man,
in
it
the
was
dugout
so
and
good.
The camera comes up to him and he just turns to it. It's
Yeah, when they play that music, man, it's brilliant. I love them Soccer AM clips. There was one with Rafa Benitez as well when he stood in the thing, and it's like he's a magician and he goes, and then he disappears, man. Oh, and he does that thing where he goes.
I love those montages where it's like good timing of things that happen
man,
on.
so good. So
Yeah,
good.
Holloway's
Ian Holloway,
another one
there's
who's a
another
legend,
shout
isn't
from
he?
Steve Brown. Ian Holloway's classic.
Brilliant,
Yeah, brilliant. Warnock's Oasis swagger was class. That was good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore, do they? Now, actually,
No,
when you think of it,
absolutely
they're all
not.
they're all hipsters, aren't they? These days.
They're all too cool for school, art. It's all like very prim and proper. Even when they lose it a bit, it's like. Although to be fair, there's some funny bits like when Klopp's leg goes when he's running.
He pulls his
Pulls his hamstring. That is brilliant. That and it's like.
I want to ask everyone something. This is not Joe's. Right, if in the future Farke leaves, Jose Mourinho is there. He wants a Premier League project. What would you say?
No.
100% yes.
Yes.
I
Evie's not having it. Evie and Andrea.
Absolutely not. This is absolutely toxic football.
Love it.
You might as well, get somebody, get Parker in. Get Parker in. He can bullshit a 1-0 win and makes it all about himself. Mourinho is over. He is incredibly self-centered and toxic, which is why he gets sacked, and he has earned the majority of his money throughout his career getting sacked. He's earned more money being sacked than any other manager in world football. So no, thank you. We need a nice manager.
But I think he'd be the perfect fit for Leeds United.
Imagine him and the injustice and the injustice of Leeds.
Yeah,
United.
of course,
That'd be
man.
perfect.
It's because we are dirty Leeds. This is why. You can imagine it, man.
They don't
you
like
can
us because
imagine
we are
it.
Leeds. Yeah.
I would
Perfect.
take him, definitely. Yeah,
What a
he's-
time that would be.
Yeah, he's quality, isn't he? He's quality. Right. I think we'll bring it to a halt there. There'll be a preview out from me tomorrow because it's game day on Saturday. It's coming thick and fast, but then we have 2 weeks off, and we'll all be bored and wanting normal football back. To be fair, Evie, what's going on what's the discourse over on the Peacock?
I'll be doing a bumper review because I have been manically busy and not had chance to do anything recently. So, and it's going to be like ups and downs. I'm not just coming on to say yay we won. I am also going to chat about the Portsmouth shit show as well. So
Good stuff.
Just say, yeah,
Make
we
sure
won.
you
You
go.
just brag about it. Just do it for 10 minutes. See how good we are, honestly.
Yeah, man. Make sure you go check out Discourse of a Peacock, folks. Lockie, what's going down over in Leeds?
Yeah, I just did a review on the game, just analysing each player and giving them a score for it. And then I might be doing a tactical video this week.
Is that player ratings?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Been doing it for a while now. It's been good.
Yeah, it's
Good
good.
little series. Yeah. Got a tactical breakdown as well. Hopefully coming this week, but I'm not going to promise that because I don't know if I'll get around to it. But
Nice. Check it out. Check
very
it out.
organised.
You are, man. You're a busy guy, though, mate. You're a busy guy. And Mr. Jack City, do we have any music coming in anytime soon?
I need to just let go.
Before I die. I love that track.
Yeah,
I'm eating.
Yeah, I do need to bring some out. I'm going to sort some next couple of months. I've got loads, and I just don't. I'm just sick to the back teeth of it. So I just need to let it go, bring it out.
Yeah, bring out the music, man. We need to do a promotion track, don't we? All of us get down to the studio. You know, like Feed the World. We'll be like, going to the Premier League. You know what I mean? Maybe you can work with that, Jack. Start with that.
That's fine. Is that absolutely? Yeah, that's better than all I'd be able to come up with, Joe. So.
Can we have Joe on tambourine or something, or the triangle or something like that in the corner?
Get me on triangle. What's going on with City Leeds fans though?
Yeah, man. Yeah, just normal, just videos every other day, more or less. Do odd live.
Thursday live. Are you live tonight?
I know. I'm not. I might go live for half an hour or so tonight, but to be honest, I'm so tired. I've been working like a dog, so I'm a bit out of it. But I might just do a little half an hour or something.
There you go, folks. Make sure you go check it out. Moderators, if you can put the channels in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. Joe can do the John Barnes role. Listen, I can actually do the rap, mate. I can't lie to you straight off the back of my head, but we won't do it now. We'll save that for another day. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. So thanks always for watching. Big up to everyone. And make sure you check out these amazing channels. And I'll see you tomorrow for a preview. Peace out, folks. Bye-bye.